no matter what company you go for, like, I could talk about one brand or the other forever, but it all comes down to how that person uses the camera. It's just the artist who captured it and their vision and how they wanted to portray that image. This is a tool for me. Like, I prefer Canon because I feel like they, in a hybrid sense, photo and video, they do both really well.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Tuesday Talks. Today, I have a guest with me, my very first guest. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about cameras and a little bit about Instagram. But first off, Joel, for those that don't know you, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. Hello, everybody. Great to be on here. Mark, thank you for having me. This is really cool. I don't know. I've never done anything like this before. But I am Joel, Joel Bastian. I am from Vancouver, Canada. I am a photographer and videographer. I love doing it as a hobby. Started with as a hobby and then ended up doing it professionally. So I shoot weddings, corporate events. We do video, photo, as I mentioned, photo booth, all that kind of stuff. Slowly getting into design work and media work with my church and all that. So that's been really good, learning a lot, and it's worked hand in hand with photography. So definitely boosted a side of me that I never knew I could do. So great learning experience there. But yeah, that's mostly what I do: photo and video work.
Okay, so you said you did a lot of work with photography and video. So tell me a little bit about that. How long have you been working with cameras, like professionally, not as a hobby, but as a profession?
Well, I get 2014 is when I started
2014.
the business, our wedding business, me and my business partner, Jason, who you know as well.
Mhm.
And so that's 2014, we started that. And that was kind of where it took off professionally, where we started getting income from our work. And yeah, since then, it's been pretty good. And obviously, people recognize your work and how much you do. It's word of mouth, right? That's the biggest thing.
Right.
And so, a lot of people hear about you and then they kind of want you to do other things as well. And that's how you can expand outside of weddings,
Right.
so you don't get stuck only doing weddings. But yeah, professionally, I would say since 2014.
Cool. So what made you get into cameras? Because I know for myself, I found it very fascinating that you could capture a story with just a photo and you could capture all these memories. I remember I went to a zoo one day and I was like, Dad, can I borrow your film camera? So I got to take photos and I was like, wow, this is really cool. You get to, I guess, immortalize memories within that camera and see the photos later on. But what made you get into photos? What made you get into cameras?
It's honestly the camera itself before anything.
Okay.
Actually, I wasn't a fan of photography. I was a fan of film, like motion
Oh,
film.
oh okay.
Um, so like cinematography, filming
Mhm.
was like my original. Every time I watched a movie, I wouldn't think about like what was happening. I would just be like, whoa, this is shot. How is this shot? This is on a dolly, this is on a crane,
Right.
right? Like I would just really, I was just so intrigued into how movies are shot. And there's something about it, like a cinematic scene that just looks, I don't know, something really appealing. I thought it was kind of
Oh.
attractive and so cool. And so um, cameras, obviously, once I played around with cameras, I really got a feel of kind of what to do. And I'm going to say when I was 14, 13 or 14, 15 maybe, um, mm, I kind of saved up and my parents actually helped me get a Sony Handycam. Maybe Mark can put a picture of it right here. And it was like vintage and well back then it was like high tech, like it was back then it was like 600 $700 and I was just like a
Right.
14-year-old and I wanted it was a home, it was a camcorder,
Right.
and it took mini DV tapes, and that's where it kind of started. Like I just wanted a camera to record, and everything looked like a home video, but man, I made films on it. I made like things with my like neighbors that we would do crazy things like jumping off trees and we would film it. Like
Nice.
yeah, so as a kid, before I started with that camera, and I made some memories with that. And then when high school came, grade 11 and 12, I had a spare block,
Mm.
and um, I was like, okay, there's this photo course, I'll take photography.
Mm.
And so I decided to try it. The school had a dark room, so I was like, cool, we'll
Oh,
do film
wow.
and like really get into that. So I was like, okay, so I took a photography course, and just because it was with cameras, I was like,
Right.
I'll have cameras, I'll take
Mm.
some, I'll take some photos. And then yeah, they had a couple of DSLRs, like some nice Nikon DSLRs, and I kind of grew up learning on those, and really started to understand the concept of photography and lighting and developing, which is now like a dying breed, but seems to be coming back too. But yeah, so in high school I took those and I really enjoyed it, and I found that I was kind of taking off with it. I started to be more passionate about it and did my own research and trying to find my own creative, I don't know how you call it, creative concept, creative something,
Creative niche.
creative niche. Yeah, that's a better word. So and then that kind of took off, and yeah, I started taking a lot more photos. It was a lot easier to access, photos, like photography. Film was like editing program. You needed like the rails, the glide cams, all that stuff. So
Right.
things. I wanted all that stuff just to make the shot look good. Whereas photos, you just have a camera in your hand, you take
Right.
photos, edit it, and you're good to go, right? So that was easier to get into.
Now, I just want to take a moment, and you said going all the way back, like that's awesome. But tell me a little bit about the Sony Handycam. It was the Sony Handycam. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's like tech that not everybody will remember.
I actually have it here in my closet, so
Okay. Joel coming in clutch, keeping all his cameras.
okay. So
Are you going to convert those DVs into like digital format, digital files?
I was thinking about it, and I think I might eventually, but there's something about plugging in your camera directly into the TV with the component cables, the red,
Bro, I don't even
white,
know
and yellow.
if the cameras or the TVs nowadays will have the AV components.
Yeah, I know. That's true. Something about it, pressing rewind, play, and stop on the camera just to watch your video.
Nostalgia.
But here it is.
Whoa.
I mean, look, the door doesn't even stay open. Like I've really abused this thing. But I mean, you can imagine when I was, back then, like this was top of the line back then. And I remember walking into the Sony store, and there was a Sony rep there, and she was like, "What are you using this for?" I remember she was like, you're just a kid. Why are you buying something camera like this?" And I was like, "Home videos." Right. So I remember the look on her face. Like she was like, "What is he doing?" Like, this is something. This is not a thing. This is not a kid's toy, right?
Right.
So, and yeah, this is what it took. This is a brand new tape actually, but
I don't think anybody is gonna, or like the newer generation won't know what that is.
This is a cassette tape. It's called a mini DV, and it's really tiny. You have to write on the paper what it was. This one was called My Tape.
Bro, they're not gonna know what that is. They're gonna be so confused.
And usually if I had the battery, almost, this thing would automatically pop up, and then it pushes out, and then you pop the tape in. It's really cool. But that's what that is. And then that camera actually died on me, and I had to quickly go on Craigslist and find someone selling a similar camera just so I can play my tapes. And I found one it was like $60, and so I use this now as my the one to watch.
Wow, from like $600 to 60. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. You've worked with cameras now for a while then, and you've worked from like a Sony Handycam to what do you have now? What's the camera that you run now?
Now I shoot mostly on DSLRs.
DSLRs?
I have a Canon EOS R.
Okay.
And EOS R6.
R6. Now, before we get into Canon and into the R5 and all that, I'm curious, for you as a camera user for a long time, where would you say that we are going in terms of camera technology? Where would you say that we are heading? Do you think it'll just be like, Google Glasses kind of a dealio, or will it just be more like mirrorless cameras, DSLRs will come back? What do you think? Will we all go to mobile photography only and videos? What do you think?
That's a good question. And I think, yeah, for now at least, and I think for many, many more years to come, it will still be SLRs. I'm not going to say DSLRs because that's, now, it's, well, it is technically DSLR still. But anything, that fits in the palm of your hand, and well, other than a cell phone, and that has a detachable lens, essentially, it's still superior, I think. And I think it's going to take many more years for something like this to be replaced by like a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't see, like, I just feel like you're going to a wedding and like, hey, I'm going to film your wedding, and then you're just standing there, like four of you
Right.
guys in the back. Just, it's just so weird. Like, but cell phone technology and cameras have come a long way, and they do have amazing capabilities. But um, image quality from a DSLR or a dedicated film camera,
Mm-hmm.
for now anyways, it's still superior, just because of the lens, and what it can do. And you can't really buy these kind of lenses for phones that give you that same depth of field, or technology. Everything is done digitally inside the
Mm-hmm.
phone. It
Right.
just There's just this artificial element to it. You can look at a photo and you can be like, hey, that's shot, that's imitated, recreated, sorry, on a phone, and it just doesn't look natural. Whereas shoot something out from a real camera and lens, it's still, I think, superior, and I think it will stay in that stage for a very long time. And I think it will advance to a point where maybe there's smartphone technology inside cameras, yeah, I think we are good for now. And I pretty much want to live in the world where it's still these kind of cameras. I don't believe in the phone cameras. They're great, just to,
Like snapping photos, like
yeah,
of a
snapping a
family,
quick
like
photo
quickly. Right.
on it and all that. Obviously, if you don't have anything, that's the best camera, right? They say the
Mm-hmm.
ones that, that's on you is the best camera you
Mm-hmm.
have. But it's always nice to take out something, yeah, it's heavier, but it's always nice to take something where you could just really get down to it,
Mm-hmm.
really feel your shots when you're holding a camera. And yeah, it just puts you in a better position than on a phone, right? So
Got
um,
you. So now with let's transition into the camera that you do use now. So you use a Canon EOS R6, right? The R6. Are you solely a Canon user, or will you ever switch to any other brands, like the Sony cameras or the Nikon or the Lumix? Will you ever switch, or will you stay forever a Canon fanboy?
a lot of people say, well, my business partner, he's like, yeah, Joel, you'll never switch. And he's right. I mean, well, to a point. Like, I have no need to. I am a Canon. Well, okay. I mean, like I told you, I started on Nikons
Right.
in high school, right? I
Mm-hmm.
shot on Nikons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're great cameras, fantastic cameras, great lenses. Um, but the reason why I jumped to Canon was because Canon put in video features in their DSLRs. In their
Mm-hmm.
entry level, they introduced
Mm-hmm.
their Rebel series, and it did video and photos.
Right.
And Canon had a history of doing, they have a huge history of doing video. They're in the broadcast industry, they make cameras, right? So um, as soon as they put in video features into these beginner cameras,
Mm-hmm.
it made more sense for me to buy that, because they could do both film and video,
Right.
which is something that I like to do, film, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it did that really well. And yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with choosing a Canon, and they're backed up by great glass that they have, lenses. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was an easy choice for me at that time. And they've innovated in their video department since, and so it's been a treat to use. Nikon now, like, has been brilliant. They were kind of behind the ball on that, great in the stills department, but now, because they can see the competitiveness out there,
Mm-hmm.
they've really started to invest in their video department. But right now, you can't really touch Sony and Canon, I would say, when it comes to video and stills. But hey, I was a Nikon user, I was a Sony user. All right. I have two Sonys here, actually. So but honestly, like, all these companies, that being said, no matter what company you go for, like, I could talk about one brand or the other forever, but it all comes down to how that person uses the camera. You can go on the internet and see some amazing images that people have taken, and you can't really tell, hey, that's from a Canon or that's from a
Mm-hmm.
Sony. um, it's just the artist who captured it, and their vision and how they wanted to portray that image, is what really comes down to. So how they use that tool is up to them, and what makes it better for them, right? So this is a tool for me. Like, I prefer Canon because I feel like they, in a hybrid sense, photo and video, they do
Mm-hmm.
both really well. They have awards in photos, they have awards in video, and they just do it all really well together. They're a lot more conservative company. They hold back on some of the features, but I feel like a lot of it is to do with controlling and really developing a camera that actually works user wise
Mm-hmm.
really well. So they take their time. Anytime you hold a Canon, like it just feels great in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Quality is really good, and you actually use the features that they give you,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
so
it's not like it's a trendy thing and then like you never use the feature again kind
and
of
it kind
thing.
of
It's
dies
like,
off. Yeah, exactly. That has
right.
happened before. I mean, the Canon EOS R has that touch bar. Everyone hated it. I don't use it at all, right? But you can see that Canon's trying to push some of innovation in, right?
Right.
And they want to experiment. But yeah, it just didn't work. So now on the R6, they brought back the joystick, which everyone loves the joystick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And obviously now the touch screen. So to choose your autofocus point, so you can
Mm-hmm.
put your eye up and you can move the autofocus points just like that, so instantly, right? So stuff like that has been really great, but there has been a little bit of flack for on Canon about some of the features they've put in, but I really think that for me, because I do both, like you know, is my strong suit, video and photo. I
Mm-hmm.
needed a company or a brand that would do those two really
Do
well,
both. Right.
and as well as backed up by great glass. Like I think Canon now is, their lens systems are the RF lens system. They just have a really strong lens lineup, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where a lot of people uh, tend to choose, may lean over to Canon because they have the selection and the
Got it.
availability, right? And even if you want to buy used, it's so easy to find. The prices are great and all that. So people using Sony cameras, they buy an adapter and they use Canon glass, right?
Right. Right.
The images are just rendered really nice with them, and it's very versatile. But you can't go wrong. Sony's been excellent. They have the best autofocus right now. That's untouchable when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
their stills. Super accurate. The eye tracking is amazing. But Canon's dual pixel autofocus in video, that changed everything. So super reliable as well. But Sony has their A7 line,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have the A7R, which is their photo centric camera, and then the
Okay.
A7S, which is their video centric, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then they have the A7, which is their
Mm-hmm.
middle, right?
Right.
So it takes three cameras from Sony to kind of to
Make
make
them
one. So
all.
videographers can choose one camera,
Right.
photographers can choose one, and the hybrid shooters, they can choose that middle one, right?
Right.
So Canon doesn't really have that. They kind of have to put everything in one camera, and so I prefer that way, I guess. So I don't have to buy
Right.
multiple cameras, right?
Right.
Where I can go on the field and be like, I can take photos really well here, but at the same time, I can get some
Mm-hmm.
great video. So
Right.
for
Got
me,
it.
that fits my lifestyle and my choice.
Gotcha.
And I'm just thankful that I happen to be, started invested early in Canon because they
Right.
decided to go that route.
Now with the Canon, the R5 and the R6, what can you tell me about that? In between the R5 and the R6, if I were to consider one, which one should I get? Like I guess it goes back to what fits the lifestyle, right? What fits the thing that I'm doing, whether that's video or photo, or like what's the needs that I have in my media needs, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you can get two cameras, I mean, do it. Like, if anyone could get two, three, four cameras, why not, right?
Right.
But if you're, if if there's going to be one camera
Mm-hmm.
that you could have,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest the R5. Um, just because if you are doing photo as well,
Mm-hmm.
if you're actually going to do photography, the R5, because of its 45 megapixels, gives you a lot of space to work with in images, right? And obviously, it's got great video quality, right? But if you're doing video work primarily
Mm-hmm.
and barely touching photos, the
Mm-hmm.
R6 is great.
Okay.
There's really no benefit to choose the R5 over the R6 if you're just doing video. It's got everything. You got their headphone jack, your mic jack, you got 4K 60, you got 1080, 1080 120, so, and full frame, a readout, so you can't, and it's great low light, slightly better than the R5 in low light because of its 20 megapixel sensor.
Okay.
So I think if you're a dedicated videographer and you're sticking to only that, you can't go wrong, right? You got the
Got you.
flippy, touchy screen, just like the
Nice.
R5, I guess. But
For the
yeah, I
vlogs.
mean,
For the
yeah,
vlogs.
Yeah, for the vlogs, exactly. It's a little bit lighter camera as well, right? So I think, and the back is designed exactly the same way as the R5, so you get all the pro, features and like layout, right? Which I really like, and I'm happy Canon did that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you're a videographer only and you're not too worried about the stills, I would definitely save that extra and go for the R6 and spend the rest on some glass. But
Gotcha.
if you're doing both and you just want one camera to do it all and you want to set it and forget it, and then you go for the R5.
Got you. Well, hey, I don't know how much time we have. We've been talking for like 23 minutes. I don't know how
I've been
much.
talking for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go on forever.
I just want like,
Go
hey,
through my bubble tea
one
here.
question and then like 5 minutes of Joel talking, which was great because we got a lot of information. But I think we're gonna have to wrap it up there. Maybe we'll do another talk on Instagram. Maybe we can, dive a little bit into that and how it looks and the
Mhm.
aesthetics of that. But thanks
Yeah.
for being on the podcast. I
Hey,
don't know.
thank
Maybe I
you.
should. Maybe I should start a podcast. It'll just be a video for today. But
You
like,
should. You should. Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry, I know I try to fit so much of information there. I don't know if that was clear or not, but
no,
it's
that
a
was
small amount
awesome.
of time. But there's definitely so much out there. But end of the day, as I can say, is just use what you're comfortable with and what suits you best. And anyone can take a great image or a great video with their talents. And it's not really the tool. The tool helps, but it's just whatever how you decide to create your work. So
Got
um,
you.
yeah.
Now, for those that are watching this in the later date, this is February 13th. Today is the 13th. If you guys want to check out Joel's Instagram, I'll link it down below. And then, Joel, do you have anything to say to the people of the internets, of the YouTubes, of the social media platforms? Anything you want to say to them, all the creatives out there and non-creatives,
Oh,
basically humans?
um, no, I mean everyone's going about it the right way, I if there's anything that I could say, I guess, is just go out and like do what you love to do. And no matter what it is, whether it be photography, videography, cooking, whatever it may be, like whatever your hobby is, just go out and do it, um, and be passionate about it. And if you're a content creator, um, show people that create videos, do that, and just show people that you love it. And you're going to get such great feedback, and people are going to love your work, and you start to get inspired just by their love for it. So just keep doing it, and you'd be amazed how far you can get just by being passionate about something you love and sharing it with others. So that's the key.
Hope you guys enjoyed today's Tuesday Talks with Joel. Comment down below and let me know what you learned about with cameras and what you thought was interesting in today's talks. But hey, if you guys aren't subscribed, subscribe today. Be a part of the Rabbi clan, Rabbi family, Rabbi subscribers. Subscribe for more content like this one. Maybe I'll do an ASMR channel. That would be good. What do you think? What do you think, Joel? Should I do an ASMR channel?
You should.
All right, see you guys in the next one.